Lush, and I'm here inside the Hub Culture studio. The night is falling, and I'm here with Tristram Stuart from Toast Ale and Feedback. Now, I've just learned that you were once called the Pope of food waste, but you're no longer. Why is that?
Well, that's right. And now everyone is on board, whether it's McDonald's or any big corporation, and more recently, the Pope himself has been issuing edicts against food waste. You can go to hell for wasting food these days.
Right.
I never had the power to do that to people, though I did try once or twice.
And 8 years ago, I actually still remember winning a night of rummaging through garbage cans, which we've never been able to do. So I'm very excited that you're here to tell me about the new project, Toast Ale, and how that feeds back into all of your other work.
Yeah, Toast Ale I started a couple of years ago. Essentially, we collect very good, fresh, but unsold bread that would have been wasted, and we upcycle that by fermenting it into craft beer. We have now won awards in multiple countries for the taste of our beer alone, not the nice fluffy story. And by selling the beer to our customers, we generate profits, which 100% of which we will put into Feedback, the charity that I founded before. And we're now brewing in 5 different countries. In each country, we support an affiliated non-profit in the space of food waste or food and hunger. And it's just really taken off. I've never thought I would be selling shares in a company, but I recently came up with a business structure that allows people, and I've sold £1 million worth of shares, got another few 100,000 to fundraise for, and all of the money that comes out of the company is locked into doing good on a planetary scale. So it's kind of a whole new way of taking on investment.
I'm excited about this because over the last 9 years that I've been coming to Davos, food waste has become a sort of come in from the cold, if you like. And in fact, they just stopped by, but last year, next door was Gastromotiva, who was cooking with food waste. We've partnered with National Geographic, with various other folks over the years who are cooking from food waste. Our chef, Freddie Money, does exactly the same thing with ugly vegetables, things that wouldn't sell in supermarkets. How does it make you feel to have this issue kind of go from the outside to the top?
Well, that just to mention a couple of those partners, Gastromotiva is the charity that Toast Ale benefits in Brazil.
Very
National
cool.
Geographic, I was the front page story last year. I'm a National Geographic explorer, and I suppose when I've been engaged in the issue of food waste for 20 years and wrote the book and then kicked off what really did shift the conversation from, well, frankly, no conversation 15 years ago to one that is regarded as a global priority. You used to be able to kind of fill a space this size with the people who could put food waste in the job title.
Right.
Now it's thousands of people, hundreds of organisations, millions of fans and followers and advocates of the anti-food waste message. It has been an incredible ride. I have a lot of fun, and the party is getting bigger and bigger. We throw these massive feasts. Feedback, the charity that I founded, has done feeding the 5,000 events in now 50 cities, at each of which we feed several thousand people for free with food that would otherwise be wasted. And like you say, now we've got some of the top chefs in the world picking up that idea and turning it into entire menus, entire restaurants, serving heads of state, and as you say, even here in Davos, some very big and significant food waste initiatives have been launched.
So that's the good side of the story, but we are still a long way from the goal, right?
I'm afraid so. It depends on what your goal is. I mean, we now have a sustainable development goal to halve food waste by 2030, which is ambitious, but I believe totally achievable. But if, as in my case, the real goal is ultimately to save the planet, and particularly from the way in which we produce food. Food is the single biggest negative impact that humans have on planet Earth. That remains the case. Not only is that not slowing down, it's still actually accelerating. We chop down more and more forests to grow more food. It's tragic, but it's also the place where I think the revolution will happen, because food is such an empowering thing. It brings people together. You can reach people by feeding them, and change somebody's entire attitude and their connection to the material universe through the food that they eat, and indeed with each other. My favourite word is companion. Companion is with, and pan is bread. It's somebody you share food with. And I think by building companionship, we can help to transform the food system.
Tell me about getting to having food waste by 2030 and what you think specifically the kinds of things that's going to take.
Yeah, so where feedback has concentrated thus far is firstly by mobilising the public. We do these big public events, we build coalitions of organisations to express that outcry that a third of all the world's food is being wasted. When you get that level of amplification through the media that we always achieve, that's when the corporates and the governments jump. They respond to that public pressure. We would then engage with big corporates. Some of the biggest supermarkets have come to us and said, okay, what is it we have to do? And they do some of what we ask, and that helps to drive down not just consumer food waste, because they're taking responsibility, but then driving down the food waste at the corporate level. Now, we have concentrated on supermarkets because they are the apex of the food system. They're the power base, if you like. What we can influence there is not just what happens in their stores, but in their customers' homes, and in particular in their supply chains. So a lot of our work has been going to see farmers and seeing how much perfectly good food is being wasted, and very often at the root of that is the buying policies of the supermarkets. So by leveraging that kind of work to change those policies, maybe persuade a few people that maybe supermarkets aren't the best place to buy the food in the first place, we can help to drive a system change.
So a couple of years ago when I was speaking to some folks about food waste, the big tip I got from Obama's chef was
Sam Cass.
Yes, exactly, was use the stems. So for the last few years, my entire family has been subjected to eating the stems of everything, from broccoli to coriander to parsley, whatever. The 10-year-old not so excited about it, but everyone else has kind of gotten on board. But what would your tip for me be?
Well, I think Sam's right on the money. We did an event with him actually in Paris, making all sorts of delicious, during the COP negotiations, doing all sorts of delicious dishes out of stems and roots and noses and tails and bits of intestine and whatever. Nose to tail eating both for plants and animals. In fact, broccoli stems, Marcus Samuelsson, another great chef operating in New York and internationally, he did a wonderful gala dinner last year, which I went to, and I'm not kidding you, by far the most delicious thing on my plate was the mayonnaise he made with a broccoli stem. I'm not kidding you. It was just a kind of whizzed up, it was incredible. It was an emulsified broccoli stem, and it was outstanding. So I think stick with the broccoli stems, but make them delicious, because otherwise your 10-year-old's going to remain skeptical and associate this whole food waste thing with having trash shoved down their throat. You've got to make it tasty and fun. That's Toast Ale is all about making it as fun as possible. Essentially, we're saying that bread shouldn't be wasted, but we can be, or rather, we shouldn't be. So drink responsibly.
Thank you very much, Tristram, for stopping by the Hub Culture Pavilion, and I'm Edie Lush.